Hi and welcome to Settle in Spain. We're the Settles. I'm Amanda, joined on this crazy journey by my husband David, our dog Otis and our cats Impy and Chewy. I hope that despite this crazy wind on this late September afternoon that you can hear what I'm saying and that this microphone that we've invested in is actually working well. To our subscribers, welcome back guys. I'm so sorry it's been so long since our last video. If you haven't been here before, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, thumbs ups, likes, comments, all the rest of it. It all helps grow the channel, so thank you guys. So this time I'm starting this video with an apology. I'm sorry it's been so long since our last video. As I was taking the clips that you're going to see, my mother-in-law fell ill. I'm not going to go into details here because it's personal family stuff. But needless to say, it means that our priorities for the foreseeable future have had to change. David needs to spend more time with his mother in the UK. And that means that a lot of the jobs that we had hoped we were going to do on the house have had to be put on hold for the moment. One of the realities of living overseas is that when somebody falls ill, it's very difficult for us sometimes to be there, but I'm really glad that Dave can be there for his mum at the moment. It's been very challenging for me, stuck here, not able to help him, not able to help Sylvia or his sister Becky, but I've got to just hold the fort here. It's also meant that work at the house has been put on the back burner. It doesn't mean we're not going to do anything. Going forward at the moment, I'm going to be getting on and doing some little jobs that I can do on my own that can help us to move forward in a small way and make life a little less stressful for David. Okay, I've set this up underneath my favourite tree or favourite spot in the garden of the place where we're renting, underneath a linden tree. It's an extremely windy day, it's blowing a gale, and I can't believe it's the end of September. And the last time I did a video for you guys, it was late August. I'm so sorry about that. This video is a complete mishmash. It's a mix of different stuff. There's a lot of information in here about the beans and the process we're doing of renovating those. You've got some fiestas that have been happening here in Spain and a little bit of cooking as well. Thank you for your patience, for sticking with us, despite the fact that I've not been able to get videos out recently. Beginning this week with cleaning the beams. I'll show you how we're getting them from covered in white stuff to turning into beautiful wood once more. It's taken a lot of trial and error knowing what to do with safety gear for doing this, even how to do it. We have had the help of friends. People have given us lots of different advice for different machines to use, to different sandpapers. We've got friends who have got very different beams to these, who are in the Murcia region, and their beams are not quite as covered with stuff as ours are. They've been able to just clean them off with a solution. And haven't needed to sand them at all, which is amazing. But they've got very different, very square beams. These, let me just show you once more, are definitely not square. They're rounded, they've got bumps and bits going on. and they're really, really, really thick with a combination of lime wash and paint and more lime wash. There's a layer of pink paint and a layer of blue paint in between lime washes. And then the last layer of lime wash seems to be the thickest of the lot, if it is lime wash. Not entirely sure, I'm guessing it is. That's what they put on there to protect the beams. So just washing wasn't going to do. We had to find a way to get all this stuff off. So we've got more than one way, and I'm going to show you some of the things that we've actually got. We have these scrapers with, I think it's a tungsten blade. If I'm wrong, I'll edit that. David picked these up. They are fantastic for getting all the loose stuff off. So the loose lime and paint, we get off as much as we can with these. They do scrape the wood a little, but it's not the end of the world because we then obviously need to sand them further anyway. I'll take a short video and you can see how this works. It's very effective actually. It's really, really good. It means that when we're up there using the grinder, we haven't got as much dust coming off. It makes it much safer for me to do the job. Then we had to look at, right, how are we going to use a sander? Are we going to use, what are we going to use? Well, it turns out that the best thing, believe it or not, is not a sander to clean these. And I know friends who love their wood are going to recoil in horror when I tell them that we're using a grinder. I'm quite serious, I'm going to get it now. So we're using this grinder. I think Dave did manage to take a short video of me with it up by the beams. I'll put that in here. So yeah, this is the grinder we've got. We're running it with a small battery. This is an 18 volt battery to make it lighter so that you can actually stand there for any length of time to do the beams. And the disc we're using, this disc is a metal cutting disc. Yep, I know. Those of you who love your wood are going to be going, what is she doing? Yes, it's a metal cutting disc, but it's amazing. It gets all that lime off and it just gets them looking absolutely stunning. It's got to be said. Now, we were advised by several people to do different things, and more than one person came up with this disc, and we were like, really? Really? A metal cutting disc on wooden beams? Or why would you do that? Well, it took us trial and error. We did get a couple of other things out first. You know, an ordinary sander surely would be enough. Just scrape it off a bit and sand it slightly. No, it wasn't going to work. Didn't touch it. The guys who'd done it before in their own homes, they knew. One of them, Bruce, is a sculptor of wood anyway, so he does know his wood and he knows what they do to these wooden beams around here. So that's what we're using. We're using a grinder. It seems crazy, doesn't it? Now, I'm not taking too much off. This isn't grinding it down to look like a perfect round log. They're never going to be perfect like round logs. They have holes in them. They have great big nails sticking out. They have great big knots. They have track marks where insects have burrowed through them because these beams have been here a long time. We know this house is at least 200 years old. And so many of these beams are going to be as old as the house is. Different parts of the house have been built at different times and it's been added on. It's actually really difficult to work out which was the first bit and which bits got added on. Really difficult indeed. And we're going to keep as much of the character as we can. We've seen, before we went ahead and did this, we've seen other people's beams that have had this treatment and they do look really beautiful. It keeps the character, and that's what we love about these buildings. We love the character of the old buildings and the feeling they have. It's like they give you a hug. So that's what I've been busy doing. I have nearly finished what was the old dining room. There is half a beam left to do, and then I'll be into what was the old kitchen. It's taking a long time. I'll show you this again. One of these batteries does one beam. Yeah, all of it is above my head like this. I'm getting muscles though, that's good. So one beam, one battery is how it's working out. The next task will be to paint on a protector to protect the beams from any further insect damage. And we're talking here mainly about termites. That's our biggest concern. Now, protection. Protection for me while I'm doing this. This dust is horrendous. We have one of these. It works great actually, but it does steam up your glasses, which is a bit of a problem when you've got to see. And if your glasses get steamed up and then they get dust on them, it all sticks. Don't go there, seriously. It's not good. We had these. You can see how thick they are with dust. That's just from them sitting on the side this morning. They were clean. But they have little holes in the side, which is great. It lets the steam out so that they don't mist up. Unfortunately, you can probably see actually this dust is so fine, I don't know if you can see that coming off my fingers, that it was going through those holes. So yeah, next to useless. Can you see that? No, yeah, you can just. It's such a fine dust. So yeah, these, I did persevere for a day or two, and then somebody else recommended something else. And one of these. So this is what we've gone for. It wasn't cheap actually. I think it was just over 17 euros from the local hardware store. She ordered it in for us. It fits quite easily over your head and comes down. And it works, it does the job. And with that, I'm just going to get it, just a very simple mask like we've all had for COVID. That's doing the trick. Now for just a little taste of what a local fiesta in a village like Oria is like. Couple of days later, and it was time to move on to the next stage and put some protective coating on the beams. This is something that we can buy in all the hardware stores here. It's a solution that helps to protect them against all types of insects, including of course that most important one, the termite. What amazed me most as I was doing this was the way the colour of that wood was just really coming out. It looks absolutely stunning. I'm really interested to see now what these beams are going to look like when we eventually get the next process, which is to put the oil on there. This is only a solvent, it's not a stain. So I'm assuming once it's sunk in and it's dried, that the beams will go back to the same colour they were before, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. What do you think? As many of you know, along with the property, we have around 7,000 square meters of land. And so far, because we're not living there, we haven't been able to do much with it. But finally, it was time to get our first harvest. That smaller fig tree wasn't quite ready and didn't have many figs on it. This, however, is covered in these golden figs. I'd been over a couple of days earlier with some friends and collected some, but many were not ripe, so I came back, brought Otis with me. He was tied to the tree while I collected a lot more. Having lived in Greece, I was very familiar with figs. We had a green fig tree next to where we were renting there, and there's a lovely big green fig tree near where we're renting here as well. These, however, are different. They're golden figs. I'd never heard of golden figs. When I first saw them, I thought maybe there was something wrong with the tree. Then I did some Googling and I looked around and realised there's quite a few trees like this in the area, and they are a specific type of fig. The golden fig is sweeter and a little bit more caramelly in flavour, and I've got to tell you, they taste beautiful. I was really pleased with this, our first proper harvest from the land. I went back a few days later to try and collect some more. Unfortunately, the goats had beaten me to it. I'm happy this year, more than happy to share with them, but for next year we'll have to come up with a slightly different plan to protect some of our harvests from the other animals that enjoy coming around here. I then needed to come up with a plan to use all of these figs. It had to be jam. That caramelly flavour I just knew was going to lend itself to a beautiful jam, so that's what I did. First of all, they needed to be cleaned and quartered. One thing you do have to be aware of with figs is that sometimes you can find little maggots inside. They naturally have little white flecks in the flesh anyway, so you do need to check carefully. Luckily, I only found one of those this time. It took a little while, but I soon had a kilo of figs ready to make the jam. I must confess here that I tend to wing it a little bit with my jam recipes. I did Google and I looked at 2 different ones and then adjusted them slightly for things that I like. With the fruit, I had half sugar to fruit, so it was half a kilo of sugar to 1 kilo of fruit. I like my ginger and I like my spice, so here instead of the 2 tablespoons recommended, I think I did 2 tablespoons of fresh ginger and 2 tablespoons of dry ginger along with the juice of 2 lemons. Then 2 little cinnamon sticks. We only seem to be able to get small ones here. Next, vanilla, again something I really like, and here I decided on 2 teaspoons. The final ingredient, 2 teaspoons of white vinegar. Something I hadn't come across before, all of the recipes for this jam recommended leaving it to sit with the ingredients for half an hour just to let the juices start to come out of those figs. I guess if you've picked the figs and had them for a while, they can be quite dry, so that would help to overcome that. For those who haven't seen, this is quite an old gas cooker that we picked up secondhand. Very simple to use, very simple to light, but nothing automatic involved. I left the GoPro recording because I didn't know what was going to happen, and playing it back I just spotted Otis in the background there, deciding to have a good roll around on the sofa, so I thought you might enjoy seeing that too. We're at 1,000 meters here, and one of the things I have learnt since being here is that the amount of liquid you need when you're cooking is very different because of evaporation. So I did have to add a little bit of extra water to this in the cooking process just to make sure that it cooked properly and didn't dry out before it was properly cooked. And a little tip when making jam: do be careful about walking away and leaving it. It's going to bubble and it can stick on the bottom of the pan if you don't stir it regularly. So do keep checking it. I've made the mistake myself more than once and burnt the jam. It was late that evening by the time I jarred the jam, and I forgot to video it for you. So I videoed the second batch the next day. We do things slightly differently in Europe than is done in North America. We don't water bath can our jams or our chutneys. We do them in hot jars with hot jam and put the lids on as soon as possible, and they seal every time. I've never had one fail, and I've been doing it like this for years. If the weather is particularly cold, I will wrap them in towels so that they cool slowly. What you can't see here is I'm wiping the rims of the lid with vinegar, using a paper towel there just to make sure there's nothing sticky that can affect the seal of the jar. And there you go, the jam's done. And while the jam was cooking the night before, I was watching YouTube, one of my favourite channels, and shelling almonds. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a moment. I can't believe how late it is. It's 12:30 at night. It's, oh God, which day is it? Thursday night. And since about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I think it was 9:30. It was just going dark out when I got back with this that my friends lent me, their nutcracker, which it has to be said was brilliant. It was fantastic. So I have just sat and cracked 2 kilos of almonds. Yep, 2 kilos. Now, to give you an idea, these are the shells from 2 kilos of almonds. That actually weighs just over 1,500. So one and a half kilos, just over, close to 1.6. So what I've ended up with is 400 grams of almonds. Who'd have thought? I had no idea how much almonds we get from that. This is going to go to make some beautiful bakewell slices with my fig jam. And I'm going to make those tomorrow, ready for the fiesta, the little festival in the hamlet here. A couple of these, I have tasted a few. Otis has tasted a few. He loves cracking the almonds open and eating them. Dogs seem to really like almonds. Tasted a few myself, and I grabbed a couple of bits as I was putting them in the jar, and there was a bitter almond in there. I don't know if you know this, but there's two types of almonds: sweet almond and bitter almond. The bitter almond is used for making things like almond oil, and you have it on your Christmas cake underneath the icing. Marzipan. So the bitter almonds are used to make oil, almond oil, and also marzipan. I don't know if having the odd bitter almond in here is going to ruin my ground almonds for the bakewell slices. We're just going to have to make them and see. So there you go, guys. 2 kilos of almonds comes out at that many. That just goes to show why these things are so expensive. And it took me a while to work out how to get the nuts out whole. They were quite old nuts. They were from last year's harvest, at least. A gift from my landlord, because I was trying to buy some locally. You can't buy almonds here. The same reason we couldn't buy basil in Greece, the reason you can't buy almonds is everybody has almond trees in the village. Of course they do. So you could buy a small bag, like about that big, of salted almonds in all of the little local shops, which obviously is a snack, but trying to buy ground almonds or almond slices or just raw almonds, no, they don't exist. You can't purchase them. Yeah, so there you go, because everybody has almond trees. Why would you sell it in the shops? Okay, I'm going to head to bed now. I have to be up very early in the morning. I have an online appointment at 7 a.m. Hi guys, so it's another day. Got a clean t-shirt on for a change. And as you know, yesterday I was up really, really late, opening up all those almonds, shelling the almonds. That's it, that's the word. See, I can't even get my words this morning. I'm quite tired. Been out doing a few things already, done some work online, but now we've got a power cut. The joys of living in the countryside. What I'm doing now is this. Blanched almonds. Now, I never knew much about these. I had no idea how they were created. I've been sitting here doing this and thinking, I should share it with you. So, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so, blanched almonds. You take an almond. That's your ordinary almond once it's out of the shell. Hope you can see that. And you soak them in water. Now, I can't remember how long for. I googled it last night and I can't get online today because we have no electric. But all you have to do is just scrape off that outside edge. It peels off quite easily. Sometimes it just rubs off. And there you have a blanched almond. That's all it is. It's just an almond without the outside cover on. I don't know how many are left in here now. I was getting carried away and then realised I should really video this and show you guys just how simple it is. And I'm doing this while some more of that fig and ginger jam cooks. So making use of my time rather than just waiting around for that to finish. But isn't that amazing? So simple. I do hope you guys could see then the almonds there in that stuff, just in case. There you go, it's just water and almonds, nothing else. You just leave them long enough that it peels off. I think that's just such an amazing thing. How did anyone even realise that you could do that? So, I don't know how much almonds cost at the moment. Obviously there's going to be a market rate for them, a market value. I will find out now that we have a harvest. These things are important. But also it'd be interesting to find out how much it costs to buy blanched almonds compared to ordinary ones. We're all trying to save money these days. We all like to make nice things. So if I can find out for you how much you save by blanching and peeling your own almonds, every little helps, doesn't it? This is just time. That's all it takes. There's a little bit of time, and I'm doing this while I make another batch of that wonderful fig jam. Oh, I've got to tell you, I tried it on some toast for breakfast. Wow, it's beautiful. Really, really good, really gingery and quite caramelly. It really is lovely, and you can taste a bit of the vanilla in there as well. I think I've actually done all of those. And judging by the sound of my jam, that's nearly ready too. Oh, no, I've got half of one left. So I think my next load of jam is nearly ready. I better go and get that sorted. I just wanted to say thanks again for joining us this week, for coming back and for bearing with us over a month when we didn't post anything. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you'll join us on the next one as well. I'll leave you with Otis and Chewy on our evening walk.